Okay, so we have finished off with the ICTNWK506 configure, verify, and troubleshoot WAN links and IP services in a medium enterprise network. Right. You might have gone over the lecture notes. Okay, and also please go and finish the tutorial that is there. Right. We will be coming back to this once we have finished all the units, okay, because you still have your major uh, project assessment and knowledge assessment left to complete, right? So from today we'll be going on to ICTK and WK507 install, operate, and troubleshoot minimum enterprise routers, right? This unit is mostly on how we can configure routers, the optimum levels of routers to be used in your WAN, right? The lecture note is already there, and I have already recorded the lecture as well. So you can, if you do not want to go and read and just want to listen, you can go and go to that link, and I have recorded the whole lecture that is there, right? So you can have a read. Even if you go onto the lecture notes, right, and you download it, which is a big file, because what I have done is in each of the slides, you will find that I have recorded right. If you go onto slideshow, each slide has its own recording, right? So if you change the slide, whatever is there on the slide will be discussed. Okay, so you can go over that as well. Right. So let's start with the workshop. Right. The first workshop that we have today. So I'll be basically going over the first one, and then you will be able. Then you'll be required to finish off the other workshops, right? What I would like you guys to do is, if please, just work with me and try and finish this by Friday. So we have one we will do. You can do at least one or two today, and three for Friday, right? Because next week, then we can go on with the. But next week Monday, we can go on with the 508, right? So I can. I'll also record the lecture and upload for 508, and then we can have at least work with one of the workshops here, and then next week Wednesday we can go back and discuss your major assessment, so we can have the workshops all done, and then we can start off with the assessments. So that is the plan for next week. And for this one, if as soon as you are if you have finish the workshops, okay, what I'll do is on Saturday I'll be able to then upload the solutions for this. All right, but I will see if everybody has submitted it first, then only I will upload the solutions for the workshops. Also, on that note, please, for these workshops you will be required to install packet tracer. So if you click on this link, this is the password, right? You'll be required to enter the password. The password is the name of the unit, right? And then you'll be redirected to where I've put the. Okay, something is wrong. Did anybody was able to download? Oh, there. That- Right. And then you can install whichever versions you have. Okay, you have a 32-bit and a 64-bit. So whichever's your it's compatible with your operating system, you download, and then please do check because it's about 157 MB. It's a big file, so I don't want you to be wasting your data and downloading both. Just check whichever version of Windows you have. Right, if you go to this computer, right click properties, and then here you should be able to see under system type which version of computer you have or operating system you have, and just only download that. Right. So let's start with the workshop. Okay, so the first workshop is exploring router physical characteristics, right? So we are just in this workshop going over the initial parts of knowing the router first before doing any configurations with it, right? So lab exploring router physical characteristics, topology. So if you have to draw this in packet tracer, okay. So I think so you guys have used packet tracer, right? So under the network devices here, you have right, you have routers, switches, okay, hubs, wireless devices, okay, whatever you need for your simulation. So router will just use 1941. Okay, that's the router we'll be using. Okay, and then we just this is just a simple setup. Okay, connecting a router to your PC, right? And then with this, we'll be just using sorry, okay, this connection from this to console. Basically, that is your topology. Right? That is what it is showing there. You have your router that is connected to your main PC. So part one, okay, examine router external characteristics, identify the various parts of a Cisco router, including management ports, LAN interface, WAN interface, module, expansion slots, uh, compact flash memory expansion slots, USB ports. Okay, examine the router activity and status lights. Then part two is examining router internal characteristics, showing commands using show command. Establish a console connection to the router using Teratem. Okay, Teratem is a software that they use to configure routers. Okay, and the moment I do not have a connection, because if I click OK, it'll just okay. Eventually, it'll give me a invalid connection, right? So that is where they use to configure routers. And then identify router internal characteristics showing using the show version command. Identify router interface characteristics using show interface commands, right? So basically, that is what you're to do in this lab, right? So background and scenario. So in this lab, you will examine the outside of the router to become familiar with its characteristics and components, such as its power switch, management ports, LAN and WAN interface, indicator lights, network expansion slots, memory expansion slots, and USB ports. We will also identify the internal components and characteristics of the iOS by consoling into the router and issuing various commands such as show version and show interface from the CLI. Okay, so note the router used with CCNA hands-on labs are Cisco 1941. Okay, the one that I had just put here, this is the one that I use 1941. Integrated service routers, okay, ISRs with the Cisco iOS release 15.2. Okay, other routers with Cisco iOS versions may be used depending on the model and Cisco iOS versions. The command available and output produced might vary from what is shown in the labs. Okay, make sure that the routers have been erased and no setup configuration. If you are unsure, contact instructor and so forth. So resources are given there what you need, right? So the first part, to use the image below as well as your own direct inspection on of the uh, backplane of a Cisco router to answer the following questions. Okay, feel free to draw arrows and and circle the areas of the image to correctly identify the parts. Note the router depicted in the image below is a Cisco 1941 router, which may be different from the make and model of the routers in your particular academy. We can find device information specification from the Cisco 1941 series router and the cisco.com website. Okay, additional information, including answers of many of the questions, can be found there. Okay, so this basically gives us more information about the router. So you can have this open as well. So identify the various part of a Cisco router. The image shown in this step is one of the backplane of Cisco 91 ISI used to answer the question in this step. In addition, if you examine the different model, a space has been provided here for you to draw the plan and identify components that's identified. Right. So you can see here you have your, this is a router, right? Let's scroll down. This is how a router looks like. Okay, actual router looks like this. It looks like a your Sky setup box, something like that, right? You have your connections going in there, okay, from all sorts. So some is already labeled for you. You have your aux port, your WAN interface, right? And your power switches, your console mini USBs. Okay, you have your console there. Yes, it is already labeled here, console. This would be the USB. So what will be this? Can anybody tell me? Anyone? Just say your answers if you're not sure. You can also refer to here. It would be something from, yeah. No one?
Is it complex flash?
What happened?
Is it complex flash?
Complex flash? Other answers? Anybody else? This should be the network. So, okay. So yeah, you can see if you zoom in, all the parts already labeled, right? So you have CF there. Yes, so this will be compact, large. What about this one? Right, it is already labeled there. So this one is HWIC 0, and the one, the high speed, enhanced high speed WAN interface cards. That is what that will be going on there. Right. Going to the next. Okay. Circle the and label the diagram route as power switch in the power switch in your route and the same area as the. Okay. So basically, I think we have done that. Okay. Circle and label the management ports. What are inbuilt management ports? What are the management ports? The same in your router. If not, then you can discuss. Okay, management ports you can have your console ports or your USB ports or the network ports. Second label routers LAN interfaces. How many LAN interfaces does the router in the image have? And what is the interface? Um, what is the interface technology type? Are the LAN interface the same on your router? If not, okay. So you have the zero ones, Ethernet zero ones and uh, 00 and 01, right? Sorry, yeah. Ethernet zero ones and 00. That'll be your LAN. The okay, second and label the routers WAN interfaces. How many WAN interfaces does the router in the image have, and what are the interface technology? Here you have the serial zero 01 and serial 1 interface. That is your um, that'll be your WAN interface. Then E, the Cisco 1941 ISR is a modular platform and comes with modular expansion slots for verified connectivity, network connectivity requirements. Second, label the module slots. How many module slots are there? How many are used? What type of module expansion slots are there? Are the module slots the same as your router? Okay, so we are not in the lab, so I don't know which model of router we have in at the campus. Okay, so this okay it has two module expansion slots. Okay, that is enhanced high speed WAN interface cards, that was EHWIC 0 and 1. The 0 is occupied with the smart serial WAN interface card. and WHWIC1 will accept a double wide expansion card, right? These two. So these slots replace the high-speed WAN interface card, that is HWIC slot, and can natively support HWIC WAN interface cards, voice interface cards, and voice and WAN interface cards. So you would have to unscrew this and put in your additional cards here, right? So I leave GH and sorry, F, G, and H for you to answer. The this has already been identified. It will be easy for you to answer the questions now, right? So next we'll go to step two. Okay, examine the router activity and status light. The following light highlights the activity and status light of the front and back pan of a power up and connect Cisco 1941 ISR. Some of the indicator lights are observed from view in the image of the backplane of Cisco 1941 router below. Right. So A, in the top image above, examine the indicator light on the front pan of the router. The light are labeled SYS, ACT, and POE. What do the labels refer to? What do the lights in the image indicate about the status of the router? These labels be readable if they are not lit. Okay. So what they do is these lights, okay, they'll be blinking here, where somewhere, and here, here, and here. Okay. Okay. So the light refers to the system. It refers to the system status, network activity, and power over the Ethernet. Right. The light in the image shows that the router system is successfully powered on and there is network activity and the power over Ethernet is not activated. Basically, it is saying everything is good. Everything is good, is working perfectly. B, okay, in the back pane above, okay, examine the indicator light on the router. There are three visible activity lights, one of each of the connected interface and management ports. Examine the interface lights on your router. How are the lights labeled and what is their meaning? So the light uh, in that image, okay, the serial and the gigabit Ethernet interface are active and the console management port is enabled and active. The gigabit Ethernet interface has two lights, each one labeled S for sending and the other labeled L for link. The console port and mini USB console port have a EN label for enable. The serial interface have a light label compo connected. So basically here, okay, this part, right? C, okay, this you can answer on your own. I will not give answers to all the questions. I'll just answer some and some I'll leave it for you to complete. Okay, now part two, examine the router internal characteristics using show commands. So basically these are the commands they use in Teratem, okay? This is what, if you have a successful connection to your router, these are some of the commands that you can use and this will be the output, right? If I saw version, use this command, this is something will be, that will pop up. right? So using whatever information is here, you have to answer the questions here. So the first one is, based on the output of the show function command, answer the following questions about the router. If you are examining a different model router, include the information about it here. So what version of the Cisco IOS and what is the system name file? Okay, so the version would be here 15.1, 15.0, okay, M15, and the release of sorry, here, so software version and the release. Basically, yeah, this is all the information you have. Then B, what is the bootstrap program version in ROM BIOS? So here ROM, this is the version you have. So basically, I will leave these to you to answer the rest because it is just answering whatever you have from here. So third one is, how long has the router been using without restart? So it would be, yeah, 1 day, 14 hours and 46 minutes. You have to get answers from here and then just put it there, right? Step two, it is basically, I think, the same thing. Here you have some of the outputs from the command, and given the output command it put above, answer the following. What is the frame encapsulation type? So you might have to also do some research if you're not sure what the frame encapsulation is, okay? So using show interface, sorry, you're reading the wrong question, okay. Use the show interface gigabit command to see the status of the gigabit internet interface, okay. After this you get this. So basically I think this one we have to do it on the, if we had a actual um uh, what you call a actual router, and then we would have gotten something like this, right? If there are questions relating to a practical aspect, you can leave it out, okay, and then once we are in lab we'll try it out with the actual router. Right, given the output of the interface gigabit 0 command you picked above, or use the output of your router, answer the following question. What is the hardware type and MAC address of the gigabit ethernet interface? So yeah, okay, that is the address, MAC address. MAC address would be something like this. It is a mixture of letters and numbers, right? So all these the other questions are also put up on here. So reflection, let's go quickly finish up that. So why must you need to use a EHWIC expansion slot? Okay, so you can do your some research, but the quick answer would be, okay, you may need to have a WAN connection to your ISP over a WAN interface technology that does not come with the router by default. Okay, why Might you need the flash upgrade the flash memory. Okay, you may want to store an additional iOS image file or upgrade to a larger iOS image. And then what is the purpose of a mini bus port? Your purpose is to give you ability to console into the router if you want, if you do not have a common uh, COM serial port in your laptop or computer. COM serial port is the blue port that we have used to connect projectors or your additional screen. That's a COM serial port. Now the new laptops, okay, or some of even the PCs, they do not have it. So you can use, if you do not have it, you can use the mini USB port to connect from your device to the router. Okay, the last one, I'll leave it for you to answer. All right. So if you basically see, okay, most of the questions are just based on the scenario that is there. If you do not understand anything, you can drop me an email and ask me, or you can do some of your own research on this, right? The labs answers, I will put it on Moodle most probably by Saturday. But what I want is for you to do it first and then try to check it with the answers that I'll be giving in, so that you know where you stand. Okay. And any questions on this? The only thing that I'm saying, make sure that you answer all the workshops first, then you make it into a folder and then you submit it. Okay. You won't be able to submit it one by one, but you'll have to finish all, put it in the folder and then submit that whole folder here. Okay, and remember to please install Packet Tracer. You might have to just create an account, or you can use a guest account. If you use a guest account, you will have to wait for a bit. Okay. Okay, so here you can see you have a user login or a guest login. So you might have to wait. If you have created account, you can log in. If not, then you'll have to go onto the guest account. This page will open and then you just have to wait, I think, about 15 seconds before it allows you to go into the software. Confirm guest, and then you will be inside the software and you will be able to use the software. Right, any questions on um the workshop? Do not understand me, please just send me an email. I will be able to help you. But most of the questions are just related on the case study that is there. You might just need to do some research on that and it should be clear. Okay, but first I'll advise you just go and have a listen to the lecture first on routers, and it will make most of the things clear in your workshop. All right? If no questions, then we'll end the class here and then I'll see you next week, Monday at 10 a.m. Right? Once I've uploaded the answers as well, I'll drop an email with also the link for Monday's class. Set, and then see you on next week, Monday. Bye.